the Forgotten Archives, the Museum of Lost Species. Before we begin this incredible journey, drop a quick comment below and tell me where you're watching from. It really helps the channel grow. The Galactic Archive existed in the space between dimensions, a massive crystalline structure that floated in the void where reality bent and folded upon itself. Here, the archivist kept records of every species that had ever existed in the known universe. 3 trillion species across 2 billion years, all documented, cataloged, and preserved in perfect digital memory. Commander Lisa Rodriguez stepped to the dimensional portal, her boots clicking on the crystal floor. She was the first human ever invited to the archive, and she could feel the weight of that honor pressing down on her shoulders. Around her, the archivists moved in silence, beings of pure energy who had transcended physical form 10 million years ago. They glowed with soft blue light. Their consciousness spread across multiple dimensions simultaneously. The chief archivist, a being called Keeper of All That Was, materialized before Lisa. Its voice echoed directly in her mind, bypassing her ears entirely. Human Commander Rodriguez, welcome to the archive. We have summoned you for a matter of grave importance. Lisa straightened her uniform. I'm honored, Keeper. How can humanity help? The crisis no one expected. Keeper of All That Was led her through halls filled with data crystals, each one containing the complete history of extinct civilizations. For 2 billion years, we have preserved the memories of species that have passed into extinction. We collect their knowledge, their art, their languages, their stories. We ensure that nothing is truly forgotten. That's incredible work, Lisa said, genuinely awed. Yes, but we have encountered a problem we cannot solve. The Keeper stopped before a massive wall of crystals, each one glowing with a different color. These crystals contain the memories of 47,000 species that went extinct in the last million years. Wars, plagues, natural disasters, each one lost time. We have their data perfectly preserved. Lisa waited, sensing the problem coming. But the data is dying, Keeper of All That Was said quietly. Not the information itself, that remains intact, but something else. Something we did not know could die. The meaning behind the memories is fading. The emotional context, the cultural significance, the essence of what made these species unique. Humans and their strange gift. Lisa looked at the crystals, confused. I don't understand. How can meaning die if the information is preserved? Another archivist appeared, this one called Memory Keeper 7. We archivists are perfect recorders. We capture every detail with absolute accuracy. But we do not feel. We observe but do not experience. When we record a species' final poem, we capture every word perfectly. But we do not understand why those words made them weep. Over the past century, Keeper of All That Was continued, we have noticed that accessing these memories provides less and less understanding. The data is there, but it has become hollow, empty, like words without meaning. Lisa thought about this, her mind racing. You have the what, but you're losing the why. Precisely, Memory Keeper 7 said, and we discovered something extraordinary. When we tested various species on their ability to understand extinct cultures, humans scored impossibly high. Not because you're more intelligent. Many species surpass you in pure processing power, but because you possess something unique. Keeper of All That Was projected an image in the air, showing human brain scans. You remember emotionally. Your memories are not just data. They are feelings, sensations, connections. When you recall your past, you do not simply access information. You relive experiences. You feel them again. The impossible request. We need you to do something that should be impossible, Memory Keeper 7 said. We need you to feel the memories of extinct species, to experience their histories not as data, but as lived reality, to give meaning back to what we have preserved. Lisa felt her heart racing. You want me to experience the memories of dead civilizations? How is that even possible? We have developed a neural interface. Keeper of All That Was explained. It will allow you to access the archive directly, to experience memories as if they were your own. But we warn you, this will be dangerous. These are not human memories. There are alien thoughts, alien emotions, alien ways of experiencing reality. Your mind may not survive the process intact. Lisa took a deep breath. She thought about why she had joined the Exploration Corps, about humanity's drive to understand the universe, to connect with others, to ensure that nothing was forgotten. "I'll do it," she said. "But I have one condition." The archivist waited. "I want to bring others. A team of humans. Different backgrounds, different experiences, different ways of seeing the world. If we're going to give meaning to lost memories, we need diversity of perspective." Keeper of all that was seemed to consider this. "Acceptable. Choose your team carefully, Commander. The fate of 2 billion years of history may depend on your success." Building the memory team, Lisa returned to Earth and immediately began recruiting. She needed people who could handle the impossible, who had deep emotional intelligence, who understood loss and memory. She chose Dr. Marcus Webb, a historian who specialized in dead languages. He had spent 20 years reconstructing the culture of a lost Earth civilization from fragments of pottery and ruined texts. If anyone understood how to find meaning in remnants, it was Marcus. She chose Yuki Tanaka, a grief counselor who had helped thousands of people process trauma and loss. Yuki understood how memories could heal or harm, how the past lived on in the present. She chose Jamal Washington, a musician who composed symphonies based on sounds of extinct Earth species. He had a gift for finding beauty in things that no longer existed. She chose Elena Volkov, a neuroscientist who studied how human brains formed emotional connections. Elena understood the physical basis of empathy and memory. And she chose Tommy Chun, a 12-year-old prodigy who had lost his entire family in a colony disaster. Tommy remembered them every day, keeping their stories alive through drawings and written memories. He understood, perhaps better than anyone, what it meant to be the last keeper of someone else's history. The first memory dive. The team assembled at the Galactic Archive 6 weeks later. The archivist had prepared a neural interface chamber, a circular room where each human would lie on a medical platform connected to the archive systems. "We will start with something simple." Keeper of all that was explained. A species called the Melodians. They went extinct 5,000 years ago when their sun exploded. We have their complete history, but the meaning has faded significantly. Lisa and her team lay down on the platforms, neural connectors attached to their heads, and Lisa felt a strange tingling sensation as the interface activated. Then the world disappeared. Lisa found herself standing on an alien world. The sky was green and 3 moons hung overhead. She was in a body that wasn't hers, with 4 arms and skin that changed color with her emotions. She was a Melodian mother, walking home from work. But more than the physical sensations, Lisa felt the emotions, the exhaustion from a long day, the anticipation of seeing her children, the worry about the family finances, the love, overwhelming and fierce, for her family waiting at home. The memory continued. She experienced dinner with her family, laughter around a table filled with food that tasted like music somehow. She felt the texture of her child's hand in hers as they walked under the triple moons. She experienced the peace of tucking her children into bed, singing them a lullaby in a language she somehow understood. Then the memory ended, and Lisa was back in the archive, tears streaming down her face. What the humans discovered. Around her, her team was also crying. Marcus was sobbing openly. Yuki had her hands over her mouth. Jamal was shaking. Elena sat perfectly still, tears running silently down her cheeks. Even young Tommy was wiping his eyes. "I felt her love," Lisa said quietly. "The Melodian mother. I felt how much she loved her children. That wasn't just data. That was real." Memory Keeper 7 appeared, its energy form pulsing with what might have been excitement. Remarkable. The memory crystal is glowing brighter. The meaning is returning. Keeper of all that was join them. What you experience in 10 minutes, we have observed for 5,000 years without understanding. You felt what we could only record. This is the gift of human memory. You do not just store the past, you live it again. Dr. Webb stood on shaky legs. That civilization is gone. Their sun destroyed their world. Everyone died. But for a moment, I was there. I was one of them. Their love, their joy, their ordinary beautiful life. It's not forgotten anymore. We remember. The weight of remembering. Over the next weeks, the team dove into memory after memory. They experienced the last day of the crystalline singers, a species that communicated through light. They felt the final moments of the depths dwellers, who lived in the crushing pressure of a gas giant's core. They shared the joy of the sky dancers, who had evolved to fly through the upper atmosphere of their world. Each memory was different. Each one was precious. And each one was achingly sad because these species were gone, wiped out by disasters, wars, or simply the slow entropy of time. But something remarkable was happening. As the humans experienced these memories, the archive itself was changing. The crystals glowed brighter. The data became richer. Other species who accessed the memories after the humans had processed them found them easier to understand, more meaningful. "You are healing the archive. Keeper of all that was told Lisa after a month of work. Your emotional engagement is restoring what we thought was lost forever. The meaning behind the memories." But the work was taking its toll. Marcus had nightmares about civilizations burning. Yuki struggled with the accumulated grief of extinct species. Jamal composed music, so sad that listeners wept uncontrollably. Elena's research notes were filled with desperate questions about the nature of consciousness and loss. And young Tommy drew picture after picture of alien families, keeping their faces alive on paper because no one else would remember them. The breaking point. 2 months into the project, Lisa found Tommy sitting alone in one of the archive's empty halls, crying silently. "Tommy, what's wrong?" The boy looked up at her with red eyes. "I can't do this anymore, Commander. Every memory is someone's last day. Every experience is of people who are gone forever. It's too much. It's like losing my family again, over and over." Lisa sat down beside him. She wanted to tell him it would be okay, that the pain would fade, but she couldn't lie to him. "You're right," she said instead. "It is too much. We're carrying the grief of extinct civilizations. We're feeling the loss of beings who died thousands or millions of years ago. It's not fair that this burden falls on us." "Then why are we doing it?" Tommy asked. Lisa thought about this carefully. "Because someone has to remember. Because these people, these beings, they lived and loved and hoped and dreamed. They deserve to be more than just data in a crystal. They deserve to be felt, to be mourned, to be remembered as real." "But it hurts so much," Tommy whispered. "I know, but maybe that's the point. Maybe the hurt is how we honor them. By feeling their loss, we prove they mattered, that their existence meant something." Tommy was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "My mom used to say that the dead aren't really gone as long as someone remembers them with love." "Your mom was very wise," Lisa said gently. "Do you think the Melodians feel less alone now? Because we remember them?" Lisa pulled Tommy into a hug. "I think they would be grateful that someone cared enough to feel their lives, even for a moment, that someone chose to carry their memories forward." The truth about human memory. That evening, Lisa called a team meeting. Everyone looked exhausted, emotionally drained. But there was also something else in their eyes, a fierce determination. "I want to show you something," Lisa said. She projected data from the archive onto a holographic screen. "This is the memory decay rate for species we processed. It's not just stopping, it's reversing. The memories are getting stronger, more vivid, more meaningful." "How is that possible?" Elena asked. "I asked the archivist the same question," Lisa replied. "They have a theory. When we experience these memories, we're not just observing them. We're connecting them to our own experiences. The Melodian mother reminds us of our own mothers or of being parent ourselves. The joy of the sky dancers connects the times we felt free and happy. We're weaving these alien memories into fabric of human experience." Marcus leaned forward. "We're making them part of our story, part of humanity's collective memory." "Exactly," Lisa said. "And because human memories are emotional, relational, connected to everything else we've experienced, we're giving these extinct species something the archive never could. We're giving them meaning in the context of life, of feeling, of shared experience." Yuki spoke quietly. "The archivist preserved perfectly, but preservation isn't the same as remembering. To truly remember something is to let it change you, to carry it forward, to make it part of who you are." And that's what humans do, Jamal added. We don't just store memories. We live with them. We let them shape us. Lisa nodded. The archivists invited us here because they recognize something about humanity that we often don't see ourselves. We're not the strongest species or the smartest or the most advanced, but we might be the best at remembering, at caring about the past, at feeling the weight of history, and choosing to carry it anyway. Young Tommy raised his hand. So we're like memory keepers? For the whole galaxy? For the whole universe, Lisa corrected gently. 2 billion years of lost civilizations. And we're the ones who can make sure they're not just data, but real memories. Real lives that mattered. The team looked at each other. They were exhausted, grief-stricken, emotionally raw. But they were also united in purpose. Someone had to remember. Someone had to feel the weight of all that loss. And apparently, humans were uniquely suited for this impossible task. I'm in, Marcus said, for as long as it takes. Me too, Yuki agreed. One by one, the team committed. Even Tommy, who had been crying just hours before, nodded determinedly. Then we continue, Lisa said. We dive into more memories. We feel more loss. We carry more grief. Because that's what it means to truly remember. And maybe in some small way, we're giving these extinct species a kind of immortality. They live on in us, in our memories, in the emotions we feel when we experience their lives. Keeper of all that was appeared in the room. We have been observing your discussion. We must tell you something important. The team turned to face the archivist. In 2 billion years of collecting memories, we have never understood why civilizations create monuments, write histories, tell stories about their dead. It seemed inefficient, dwelling on what was lost. But now we understand. It is not about efficiency. It is about love, about refusing to let those who came before disappear completely, about carrying their weight so they are not forgotten. The archivist's energy form pulsed with colors the humans had never seen before. You humans, you are not just restoring meaning to dead memories. You are teaching us something we thought we knew but never truly understood. The past is not data. It is legacy. It is connection. It is love that refuses to die even when everything else does. Lisa felt tears on her cheeks again. We'll keep remembering. For all of them. And we will help you. Keeper of all that was said. We have 47,000 species whose memories need meaning restored. It will take years, perhaps decades. But you have shown us that some work is worth any cost. Some memories deserve to be felt, not just preserved. The team returned to the neural interface chamber. There were countless more memories waiting, countless more lives to experience, countless more losses to feel. But they would face it together, carrying the weight of 2 billion years of history, ensuring that the dead would not be forgotten, because that was humanity's gift, not strength or intelligence or technology, but the stubborn, fierce, impossible insistence on remembering, on caring, on feeling the full weight of loss and choosing to carry it anyway. The crystals glowed brighter as the humans dove into another memory. And somewhere in the space between dimensions, the dead rested a little easier, knowing that someone, somewhere, still remembered them with love. The discovery that changed everything. 3 months into Memory Restoration Project, Dr. Elena Volkov made a disturbing discovery. She was analyzing the neural patterns created when humans process extinct memories, and she noticed something that made her blood run cold. Commander Rodriguez, you need to see this immediately, Elena said, her voice tight with urgency. Lisa joined her in the research lab, a small section of the archive that the archivist had set up for the human team. Elena pulled up holographic brain scans. This is your neural activity when you experience a Melodian mother's memory, Elena explained, pointing to bright patterns. And this is Marcus when he dove into the crystalline Singer civilization. Notice anything? Lisa studied the scans. The patterns are similar. Like our brains are forming the same kinds of connections. Not just similar, Elena said grimly. Identical in key areas. Lisa, I think something's happening to us. These memories aren't just passing through our consciousness. They're being stored permanently. We're not just experiencing these lost civilizations. We're absorbing them. The unintended consequence. Lisa called an emergency team meeting. When everyone assembled, Elena shared her findings. You're saying the memories of extinct aliens are living in our heads? Jamal asked, stunned. More than that, Elena explained. They're integrating with our own memories. The Melodian mother's love for her children is becoming indistinguishable from your own parental feelings. The crystalline singer's joy in creating light music is merging with your artistic impulses. We're becoming living archives. Yuki looked pale. How many memories can a human brain hold before what? We lose ourselves. I don't know, Elena admitted. The human brain is incredibly adaptable, but we're pushing into completely unknown territory. We've each processed memories from 30 to 40 different species. If we continue at this rate, by the end of the project, we'll each carry memories from thousands of extinct civilizations. Tommy spoke up quietly. Is that why I've been dreaming in colors I don't have names for? Why I can remember things that never happened to me? Yes, Elena said softly. Tommy, you're the youngest. Your brain is the most plastic, the most adaptable. You're integrating these memories faster and more completely than any of us. The archivist's secret. Lisa demanded a meeting with Keeper of All That Was. The ancient being appeared, and Lisa didn't wait for pleasantries. You knew, she said, her voice cold with anger. You knew this would happen to us. The archivist was silent for a moment. Then, yes, we knew. Why didn't you warn us? Why didn't you tell us we'd be permanently changed by this process? Memory Keeper 7 materialized beside the Keeper, because we did not believe it was a flaw. We thought it was a solution. Commander, the memories were dying because they had no living host. Data crystals preserve information, but they cannot feel. They cannot grow. They cannot care. Memories need consciousness to truly live. You turned us into memory vessels, Marcus said, his voice shaking with barely controlled fury. Without our consent. No, Keeper of All That was said firmly. You volunteered to give meaning to lost memories. This is what that means. To truly remember is to carry forward, to become, in some way, the continuation of what was lost. Lisa felt rage boiling inside her, but underneath it was something else, a recognition that the archivist was right. She had felt the Melodian mother's memories becoming part of her own internal landscape, and it hadn't felt like invasion. It had felt like inheritance, the ethical dilemma. The team spent hours debating what to do. They could leave, refuse to continue the project. The archivist couldn't force them to stay. But 47,000 species still needed their memories restored, and there was no other species capable of doing the work. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, Yuki said quietly, breaking a long silence. In her final years, she forgot everything. Her childhood, her marriage, her children. It was like watching her disappear piece by piece. The worst part wasn't that she forgot. It was that eventually, there was no one left who remembered those things about her. The memories died with her. She looked around at her teammates. These extinct species, they're like my grandmother. Their memories are fading. If we don't do this, if we don't carry their memories forward, they disappear completely. Not just their bodies, but everything they were, all their love and art and dreams, gone forever. But at what cost? Marcus demanded. We're changing, fundamentally. By the time we finish this project, will we even be ourselves anymore? Or will we be walking graveyards, haunted by thousands of dead voices? Tommy stood up. Everyone turned to look at the 12-year-old. I remember my family, Tommy said, his voice steady despite tears in his eyes. Every day. I remember my mom's laugh and my dad's terrible jokes and my little sister's drawings. Those memories hurt. They remind me of what I lost. But they also keep my family alive. He looked at each team member. I've changed because of those memories. I'm not the same person I was before the accident, but I don't want to be that person. I want to be someone who remembers, who carries forward the people I loved. These extinct species, they don't have anyone left to remember them. Tommy continued. We're all they have. Maybe we will change. Maybe we'll carry these memories forever. But isn't that better than letting them disappear? Isn't it worth changing if it means someone remembers? The choice to continue. The team voted. It was unanimous. They would continue, knowing the cost, accepting the changes that would come. But they insisted on two conditions. First, the archivist would monitor their mental health closely. If anyone showed signs of psychological breakdown, they would be pulled from the project immediately. Second, they would tell the truth about what this work entailed. If others volunteered to join them, they deserved to know what they were signing up for. Keeper of all, that was agreed to both conditions. You honor us with your sacrifice. We will do everything in our power to protect you. It's not a sacrifice, Lisa corrected. It's a choice. We choose to remember. That's what makes us human. The work continued, but now with full awareness of what they were doing. They were becoming living memorials, carrying the weight of extinct civilizations in their own minds. The memory plague. 4 months into the project, disaster struck. A species called the Vexillati had gone extinct 100,000 years ago after developing a biological weapon that had backfired. When the team dove into Vexillati memories, something went terribly wrong. The memories were corrupted, filled with pain and rage, and the biological imperative to spread the weapon that had killed them. Worse, the memories were contagious. Everyone who experienced them became infected with the Vexillati's final thoughts. Destroy everything, spread the weapon, ensure nothing survives. Marcus was the first to be infected. He emerged from the neural interface, screaming, attacking the nearest archivist. It took 6 security personnel to restrain him. Then Jamal showed symptoms. Then Yuki, within hours. The entire team except Lisa and Tommy were thrashing in medical restraints, their minds overtaken by the Vexillati's poison memories. The desperate solution. We must purge the memories. Keeper of all that was said urgently. If we don't remove the Vexillati data from their minds, it will spread. They can infect others through their neural patterns. No, Lisa said firmly. If you purge the Vexillati memories, you'll purge all the memories they've integrated. You'll erase everything they've done over the past 4 months. Better that than lose them completely, Memory Keeper 7 argued. But Lisa was already connecting herself to the neural interface. There's another way. If the memories can spread like an infection, then maybe I can absorb them from the others. Take the poisoned memories into myself. You'll be destroyed, the Keeper warned. Your mind cannot withstand that much corrupted data. Maybe, Lisa agreed, but maybe human memories work differently than you think. You preserve perfectly, which means corruption spreads perfectly. But human memories change. They integrate. They adapt. Maybe I can absorb the Vexillati poison and transform it somehow. Tommy grabbed her arm. Commander, you can't. It's too dangerous. Lisa smiled sadly at the boy. Tommy, your mom was right. The dead aren't gone as long as someone remembers them. Even the Vexillati, who did terrible things, they deserve to be remembered. Not celebrated, but remembered. Their mistakes should be learned from, not erased. She activated the interface before anyone could stop her, inside the poisoned memory. Lisa found herself drowning in rage and pain. The Vexillati had been brilliant scientists who had tried to create a weapon to protect themselves from invaders. But the weapon had evolved, had turned on its creators, had consumed them from within. The memories screamed at her. Destroy, spread, kill, ensure nothing survives. But Lisa held on to something the Vexillati memories didn't understand. She held on to her own memories. Her mother teaching her to ride a bike. Her first day at the academy. The moment she met her husband. The birth of her daughter. The quiet contentment of morning coffee. The joy of solving a difficult problem. The warmth of friendship. She wove her memories around the Vexillati's poison like a net. She didn't fight the corrupted memories. She integrated them. She felt the Vexillati scientists' fear that had driven them to create the weapon. She understood their desperation to protect their families. She acknowledged their horror when they realized what they'd unleashed. She remembered them not as monsters, but as people who had made terrible mistakes out of love and fear. And slowly, impossibly, the poison began to transform. The rage faded into regret. The compulsion to destroy became a warning to others. The Vexlati memories stopped screaming and started weeping. The aftermath. Lisa woke in the medical bay 3 days later. Her team surrounded her. All of them recovered. "You saved us," Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. "You absorbed the corrupted memories and healed them somehow." "I didn't heal them," Lisa said weakly. "I just remember them differently. I chose to see the Vexlati as people who made mistakes, not as monsters, and that changed how the memories function in my mind. Keeper of all that was appeared. What you did should have been impossible. Corrupted memories cannot be healed, yet you transformed them through context, through connection to your other memories, through empathy." Elena was examining neural scans. "Lisa, the Vexlati memories are still in your head, but they're not corrupted anymore. They're sad, cautionary, like a warning preserved in amber." Lisa nodded slowly. "They made a weapon out of fear. They destroyed themselves trying to protect what they loved. That's a memory worth preserving. Not because it's beautiful, but because it's true. Because others should learn from their mistakes." The new understanding. The incident changed how the team approached their work. They realized that being living archives meant more than just storing memories. It meant choosing how to remember, what context to preserve, what lessons to carry forward. Not all memories were equal. Some were joyful, some were tragic, some were warnings. But all of them deserved to be remembered with honesty and compassion. Over the next year, the team processed thousands of species. Each person developed their own way of integrating memories. Marcus connected them to historical patterns. Yuki wove them into narratives of growth and healing. Jamal translated them into music. Elena studied their neural patterns. Tommy drew pictures that somehow captured the essence of civilizations he'd never seen. And Lisa held them all together. The commander who had learned that remembering wasn't just about preserving the past. It was about choosing what to carry forward into the future. The legacy. 2 years after the project began, they completed the restoration of all 47,000 extinct species. The team had changed profoundly. They carried entire civilizations in their minds. Thousands of lives and loves and losses integrated into their own consciousness. They were no longer quite human in the way they had been. But they were something new. Memory keepers, living bridges between the past and the future. Proof that the dead could continue through those who chose to remember them. "What will you do now?" Keeper of all that was asked as the team prepared to return to human space. Lisa looked at her team, at the people who had become her family through shared memories and impossible challenges. "We'll live," she said simply. "We'll take these memories back with us. We'll share them with others. We'll ensure that these 47,000 civilizations are not just data and crystals, but living memories that shape how humanity sees the universe. And when we die," Tommy added, "these memories will die with us, just like the civilizations did. But that's okay. That's what it means to truly live, to carry forward what we can, for as long as we can, and then trust others to do the same." Memory Keeper 7 pulsed with colors that might have been sadness, so the memories will eventually be lost again. "No," Yuki said gently, "they'll transform. They'll become stories, legends, lessons. They'll shape the culture of every species that learns about them. They won't be preserved perfectly, but they'll live on in ways that matter, in choices made, in wisdom gained, in compassion learned." The team left the archive and returned to Earth. They had been gone for 2 years, but it felt like lifetimes. Lisa stood in her backyard that evening, her daughter sleeping upstairs. She looked up at the stars and felt the weight of 47,000 extinct civilizations in her mind. The Melodian mother's love, the crystalline singer's joy, the Vexlati's warning, thousands of others, all integrated into who she was now. She was changed, permanently, but she had no regrets. Because somewhere in the space between dimensions, the dead rested easier. They were not forgotten. They lived on in the memories of humans who had chosen to carry them forward, who had paid the price of remembering, who had proven that the past deserved more than perfect preservation. It deserved to be felt, to be mourned, to be celebrated, to be learned from. It deserved to be remembered by beings who understood that memory wasn't about storing data. It was about love refusing to let go, even when everything else had faded away.